Hello, gentle viewers, and welcome to another episode of Alistair Reviews It. And today we are reviewing the 5th episode in WandaVision. I am joined here by my co-host and husband, Zachary Garcia.
Yeah, I'm back. So 5th episode of WandaVision. It is like 6 a.m. right now. We woke our asses up early so that we can get this episode out today.
Yep,
Yeah, we did it for you people.
that's why I'm wearing a robe.
We have sleepy eyes and a bunch of crust right here. If you could see us up close, it's not a pretty sight.
It's a morning show. I feel like it should really just come out
WandaVision
Saturday
should be a
night,
morning show.
like Friday night, Saturday night.
Yeah. So, lot of things happened in this episode. It's definitely a part 2 to episode 4.
It is.
Yeah, I can see where they kind of cut it up.
It felt like a part 2 to episode 4. It felt like they were meant to be together.
Yes.
I would say. And we have as much, if not more, reveals than we had in the last episode.
Yeah, and it's much more of a blend of the two worlds. We've got WandaVision's world, what's going on in this town, and then we've got what's going on outside, with Sword, and it's all in one episode, and it's great. It's a bunch of goodness, and so we're in the 80s now.
Yeah, and the entire theme of the episode was, one, taking responsibility.
Yes.
And two, like, rules, and two, that you can't just run away from what is right or what is right in front of you. Grief.
Yes, and that does go hand in hand with a lot of like 80s sitcom, plot lines. It always ends with the make up and hug it out scenario, right?
Okay, so Agnes. I feel like we got so much from Agnes this episode.
Yeah.
One, she's the first character besides Geraldine, Monica Rambeau, and Vision, who seems kind of aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because she came in, she flubbed her lines.
And she's like, do you want to just do that again?
And she seemed afraid when she asked that too.
So big reveal is that everybody's pretty much being controlled by Wanda now. We know this. There's no... As far as we know so far, there's no Hydra, there's no anything like that. It is just Wanda. Mm-hmm. And there seems to be some that are more aware than others. Like the guy that Vision works with is not aware until Vision kind of uses his abilities on him to bring him into a more conscious state. Whereas Agnes is very aware of what's going on. And she knows to play along with the part.
And I wonder whether that's purposeful or whether it's because we suspect Agnes might be a witch. And speaking of her being a witch, her house is the Bewitched
Her house is the Bewitched house. I loved seeing that. I was so happy to see that.
So I think that kind of hints that she's a witch. I feel like.
Yeah. Do you know what I thought? What I thought would have been really cool though. I'm kind of sidestepping there from here a little bit. Is Elizabeth Olsen. Her sisters are the famous Olsen twins who starred in one of the biggest sitcoms of the 80s, Full House. And then Elizabeth Olsen in this has twins. And I thought it would have been really cool to kind of have like little callbacks to Michelle Tanner's "You got it, dude" or something like that. Little like catchphrases. Would have been really funny. But speaking of the twins can, here's another reveal, they can age themselves up. They control that.
They're 10 years old by the end of the episode?
Yes, and they're about to even go even older, and then she has to calm them down at some point and keep them from aging up even more.
They're confusing to me, Tommy and Billy. I know one is Speed, one is Wiccan, and I guess whenever they want something or they can't expect something, they age each other up using their mother's power or whatever they're using.
Yeah.
And a big scene in this was when their dog dies that they just got.
Yeah.
And they ask their mother to bring the dog to life, and she's like, no, that's wrong, or whatever. You can't run away from everything. Don't age yourselves up.
She said there are rules with this sort of thing. Meanwhile, she is the biggest hypocrite out there. She's breaking all the rules here. She's bringing people back to life. Not technically back to life. I don't think anybody's actually coming back to life. I think she's just reanimating them somehow. But you know what I found interesting, though, is that Tommy and Billy... she's created. So a big thing in this episode is that we realize that everything Wanda is creating is a tangible piece of it is real. She's creating real things, real clothes, a real home, these real twins. But these twins, unlike everybody else, she can't control these twins. She can't control Vision either, can she?
No.
But she definitely can't control these twins, even when they're
Well, she can control Vision up to a point.
up to a point. But these twins, she can't control them at all, even when they're babies, and she's trying to like
Calm
them down. She can't control them.
Try to do magic on them.
Yeah, and so this is something that she created in this world, but has no control over.
On the outside, they send in that drone, which I guess is from the 80s.
Yeah.
So nothing changed.
It's
So they were
very
able to use
Terminator.
it.
Yeah.
And she goes, she goes like murders Wanda again, and she
Yeah.
leaves, and she confronts all of them.
Well, she leaves her town that she's created, this magnetic force field. She walks right through it, holding this drone, throws it at the Sword's feet, and is pretty much that's yours. There's this standoff between them, and she's reverted back to her accent.
Oh yeah,
It's this big reveal moment where we know that she not only is aware of everything that's going on, she is very complicit in it, and this is like there's no talking her out of it. You know, she's not about to be like talked down in an 80s sitcom sort of hug it out way. She knows what's going on and is choosing to keep everybody hostage.
So I'm theorizing right now.
Yeah.
That it's not all Wanda. The reason why I'm theorizing that is because, well, one, she keeps on saying at the end of the episode that she doesn't have as much control as Vision, saying that she does.
True.
Two, she touched the photon field around the hexagonal photon field, and that photon field turned red, which meant, and her powers are red.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a distinct, part of her. So I think she made it hers by doing that.
Yeah.
I think that plus these commercials all allude to bigger organizations like
100%,
Hydra,
100%.
and so I think that there is. I don't think it's just her. I think it's her and something else. But I do
Maybe
think that she has significant
maybe there's
control.
somebody else influencing her mind.
Possibly, but if there is, she doesn't care as much. If that makes sense, she's like fine being in this House of M type neighborhood because everything she wants, a stable life, her husband, her kids, and now her brother are there.
Hello, future Zach and Alistair coming to you from outside of WandaVision land. We forgot to mention a very, very important part of this episode when Agnes comes in and Wanda does magic in front of her, and Vision's like, "Hey, you're using
doing that.
You're using your power in front of the neighbor. What are you doing?" And Wanda's pretty much like, "I'm tired of hiding. Aren't you tired of hiding? Let's just be who we are. Let's just like." Don't
You can be yourself.
Yeah, be
He's like,
yourself.
No, we can't be yourself.
And it's such a a queer moment in this show where she's like, let's just come out. Let's just be out. And I think she even words it like that in some sort of way. Let's just come out. And we thought that was a really, really nice moment. I can't believe we didn't even mention that in this.
I know.
So, here we All right, back to WandaVision land. It's revealed that she took her witch ass into Sword and stole his body, and there's like security cameras of her doing this, and it's like crazy. And we acknowledge here that she has so much power and she's dangerous. Wanda is dangerous.
Well, she says herself she's not dangerous if they stop messing with her. So,
She's dangerous. Yeah. And like you said, her brother.
So the recasting. So I've been saying, I think almost in every single episode,
Yeah.
that I think that they're going to bring Pietro back.
Yeah.
I did not expect him to be recasted. I feel like the actors watching WandaVision right now being like, really?
He's like, guy. This is why I don't think that
Oh, so mad.
Pietro is really back, obviously. I think this is a Pietro that she has created in her mind, and that's why he's been recast, because she has Vision's body, and I don't think she has his Pietro's body, and so she recasted him in her mind, and he just shows up here. Or, I don't know, he's in the X-Men, or he's
Speed from the X-Men movies.
Yes, I do.
That take place,
yes.
I think, in the
80s.
The same, I think it's 70s, 80s.
Is it 80s? Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. So we've been talking about the multiverse here for a while,
Very true.
and this is our first hint at the multiverse. Is this the first crack in the multiverse that we're seeing where he slips through and is influenced by Wanda?
Yeah.
And maybe they're connected in some sort of weird way because they're supposed to be brother and sister, but they're not really brother and sister in this reality,
Yeah.
except for the reality that Wanda's making.
I think it's a lot of questions here. We have to go into episode 6 for all this. We're 3 episodes away from the ending.
Well, and let's also talk about, before we end this, that the director, the acting director of Sword, is too, I don't know, he's too hopped up on, like, killing her. He's gonna start a war with Wanda.
He wants to kill her really bad. And Monica Rambeau. I don't even see him figuring anything out. Monica Rambeau is figuring everything out.
So I don't know what's gonna go on with him, but if he keeps on doing what he's doing, everybody's gonna die.
Well, because he keeps throwing drone strikes at her, and she's getting very testy already. And we have now established that she can leave this world whenever she wants. She can pause and she can say, "Better cut your crap out, because I'm getting tired of it."
Well, I'm curious.
And then she just goes right back in her little world.
And then which is ironic because she does whatever she wants, and then she goes in and she tells the kids, "You can't do whatever you want." But like, we get 2 very different versions of Wanda in this episode.
Oh, and she's in full Scarlet Witch garb too.
Yeah.
Like she is dressed to the nines.
And the director's trying to throw the narrative that she's a terrorist, which I can see where he's coming from.
Let's not say she's not.
I can definitely see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff was answered this episode, but then even more questions need to be answered.
Yeah.
And I was so thrown off by Pietro. I think that was the biggest reveal of this episode.
There was a subtle one though. There was a subtle something there. Okay, so just real quick before we end this. Monica Rambeau is they're trying to figure things out, and somebody mentions Captain Marvel, and Monica Rambeau takes a moment, and there's some tension between them.
Oh,
there's some
is.
history there that we aren't being told yet. So I'm excited to figure out what that's going to be too.
I also like when she talked about when Monica was like, "Yeah, she could have definitely taken on Thanos," and everybody else was like, "No, she couldn't have taken on Thanos." She's like, "Well, there was a blip. If there hadn't been a blip, she would have been able to definitely take on Thanos."
I think
and
so.
then they talked about Captain Marvel, and I was like, "Well, what's going on here?" Because they have a connection.
There's a lot of stuff.
So
we just need.
I think for her, because if you think about it, Captain Marvel is the closest thing she has to a mom besides her mom.
Yeah.
And she just woke up. Her mom's dead, and Captain Marvel isn't there
Yeah.
to come greet her. Like the blip just came back. Everybody just blipped back. Captain Marvel is around Earth.
Yeah.
Because she had to fight the whole battle and stuff, and she didn't visit Monica Rambeau, and that kind of weird.
Well, we don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. I think we're just supposed to figure that out. You know what was funny is that there was an interview a little while back that you showed me of Elizabeth Olsen in Age. Was it an Ultron interview?
Yes.
Yes.
She was doing Age of Ultron press interview.
Okay, and she mentioned that I think they asked her what she would like to do or what she would like to,
for the character.
Yeah, and she mentioned like a House of M type thing where maybe the twins come back, or maybe she creates these twins and then they're taken away from her or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, and then she's laughing it off and she's like, that would be too dark. So, here we are.
She's going a little crazy. She has fake babies and stuff like that. But I don't know. This episode they established that a lot of what's in there is real.
Yeah.
And the biggest question is whether these kids are real. That's really the biggest question because that's a new life.
I think it's
so
I do think they're real. I think the fact that they can't be controlled by her solidifies that realness, the actuality. I don't know. Okay, but that brings us to the end of this. So I'm super excited to see episode 6. If you guys like this episode going out on the day that the episode actually drops, leave that comment down below and tell us if you prefer it now or maybe a couple days in the future. I don't know. What do you think?
That concludes our review of WandaVision episode 5. We'll catch you guys next week with episode 6.
Thank you so much for watching.
Adios, gentle viewers. Until next time.
And then the credits come up.
Oh my gosh, I should
we're
do that.
arguing. Hold on, so we'll talk about that part that they're arguing as the credits are going up and Wanda's rolling the credits up as they're arguing, having a
can't
real
believe-
argument, and Vision's like calling her out and saying, "Hey,"
And they're both floating?
Yeah, and Vision's calling her out and saying, "You can't control me. You can't do this. Like you can't treat people's lives like this." And they're having a full on argument as she's trying to close the episode, and he's not letting her do it.
And she was like, well, you don't think I can control? Because she's been better at controlling him in the first
Yeah.
ones. But I don't know if he's adapting to it. My thing is like, Vision, she's your power center.
Yeah.
Like, she is your power center. And without her, you just a dead body.